Waycross presents an election forum for Springfield Township Trustee. There are two candidates running for one seat. They are, in alphabetical order, Christy Dukes Davis and Jamie Ray. Welcome to another Waycross election forum. This forum is for Springfield Township Trustee. I'm Dana Gagnon, Government Access Coordinator for Waycross Community Media, and with me in the studio is Jenny Key from the Cincinnati Enquirer and Community Press. Thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
Now we have two candidates for Springfield Township Trustee. One of them we have in the studio tonight. The other one was invited but has not been able to make it to our studio at this point, so hopefully we'll find out more as we go. But with us tonight we have Jamie Ray. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to start. We'll start with your 2-minute opening statement, but before we do that, I just want to take a minute to let the viewers know that if you are watching this live on October 1st, you can participate in the program by emailing in your questions. And that email address will show up on your screen after the opening statements, and you can be part of this program if you're watching live on October 1st. Jamie, would you go ahead and start us off with your 2-minute opening statement?
Sure. My name is Jamie Ray, and I'm running for Springfield Township Trustee. I've been a resident of the township for a little under 10 years. My wife Ginger and I picked the neighborhood to live in. We really liked what we saw, and we've actually started our family here. We have 2 young boys, the oldest of which just enrolled in kindergarten at Brent Elementary. Go Wildcats. We also love our house. We love our neighborhood. Our 2 big rescue dogs, hanging out with us. And primarily my community service has been focused on coaching YMCA soccer for 3 and 5-year-olds. And while it is fun, it is a blast, I've always wanted to do more. So when I was approached by Gwen McFarland to run for trustee, I decided to jump in with both feet and took my 22 years of coaching experience and 22 years of business experience to figure out what was the best attributes of a leader that I could bring to the role of trustee if elected. And I focused on balance, engagement, and advocacy. And that's what I'm rolling with. I'm a real believer in balance. I think there needs to be balance in any form of government. I don't think one-party rule is an appropriate way to handle things. So I want to bring that balance, just like in coaching. You can't have 11 goal scorers on a soccer team and no goalies. You're not going to win too many games going that way. So engagement, I'm interacting with voters every day. I really enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy listening to people as well. And then advocacy. So I'm going to take what I learn from my engagements with residents and advocate for people. And I fully realize that a trustee sometimes will have to make a decision that's not in their best personal interest, and I'm willing to make those decisions.
Okay.
So that's why I'm running. I want to do more.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with a pretty basic question. What do you think are the 3 top issues facing Springfield Township right now?
The first, I think, is taxes. We have a very unbalanced tax structure between business and residential taxes. And there's a lot of burden on all the residents of Springfield Township. So I would like to use my 22 years of business experience and an MBA, and my focus has been strategic planning and business development. So on day one, I can come in with new ideas on how to even out that tax structure. The second issue is safety, be that drugs and violence, be it traffic. Just a quick Google search will show you in the last 2.5 years, there's been 7 fatalities of pedestrians hit by cars in Springfield Township. I have a very good friend named Derek Bauman. He's a retired police officer and a very large advocate, probably the biggest advocate in Cincinnati of Vision Zero. And when elected, Derek's going to come in day one and talk to me about it, and see how we can apply Vision Zero issues in Springfield Township. They've just been accepted with the Cincinnati Public School Board. So if we can get it on board in Springfield Township, we can cut down those number of pedestrians being hit by vehicles.
Great. Could you talk a little bit more about what Vision Zero actually is for people that aren't familiar with it?
So Vision Zero is essentially intelligent design of vehicular passageways, right? Like not just how to cram as many cars as you can down a street. Derek had a picture. There was a student hit by a vehicle last week, and the most impactful thing was the photo of the intersection that was 9 lanes wide. I-75 is 2 lanes wide in each direction. This intersection was 9 lanes wide. And it's also about designs on how to design your roads to slow vehicles down, just to make them safer. Just, again, intelligent design of the traffic flow in cities.
Thank you.
So we already have emails coming in.
Fantastic.
And so this is an email from Terry on Castlegate.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry would like to know, what specific things would you do to bring more business to Springfield Township?
So, my experience, as I said earlier, I have an MBA and 22 years in strategic planning and business development. Just bringing any businesses to the township isn't necessarily the right way to do it. You don't always want to bring businesses in to compete with your already successful independent businesses. You want to try and find businesses that would be complementary to those, because while we would bring in, that new business, it would also raise up the existing business. So it would be looking for complementary businesses to bring in, and it's not just about fast food restaurants and putting them on main roads, right? Springfield Township doesn't have a brewery. I think everyone else in Hamilton County has a brewery. Maybe we could try and investigate, how to do that. And I think there are people that would be willing to, rezone their land if we could move down those avenues. But the big focus would be on complementary businesses to our already existing independent firms to help raise them as well.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
We have some more questions that we're going to bring out here. Jenny on Riddle would like to know how you're going to make Springfield Township safer for residents.
Great question, Jenny. We just talked about it. I think part of it is with Vision Zero and trying to get more intelligent traffic design for our streets. That's hard to do right now when we've got so much construction going on all of the main roads as well. But part of it is looking at the different neighborhoods and looking at the sizes of the streets, and that's only from a traffic perspective. We in Springfield Township, we have a great police force, award-winning police force. I spent a lot of time with Chief Browder, and the most impressive thing with me is how proud he is of that team. And I would look to get involved, not to change anything in terms of a law enforcement, but to help them get the message out on how they're, how they're making the township safer.
Great,
That's
you.
great.
I think this email.
So we have James on Ridgevale. And James says that in 2014, Springfield Township passed the JEDs, Joint Economic Development Zone Initiative. This is an earning tax on workers within the township that goes towards public safety matters like police and fire. Would you support the continuation of JEDs or repeal it? If repeal, how would you address the newly created funding gap in public safety?
So my answer is going to be that I would wholeheartedly support it, because I wouldn't want to create that gap in public safety funding. So I can get off a little easier on the answer because I'm not saying no to it. But the fear, I'm supportive of it because I would not want to create that gap. And that would just be putting more of a burden on the residents, because that's where we would have to pick up those tax dollars to keep funding our great fire department and police force and those other services that they provide.
Okay, great. Okay. Now, at this point, I just want to remind the viewers that if you are watching this live on October 1st, you can participate in the program by sending in your own emails so that you can have yours answered just the way these residents have had their questions answered as well. So you send that message to live@waycross.org. I will get it right here on the set, and I will have the opportunity to ask your candidates if you're watching live on October 1st. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead with some more questions while we're waiting for that.
Sure. Springfield Township has a pretty robust arts program. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about Arts Connect and how you feel it fits into the community's vision for where you're going.
I think it's a wonderful service provided by the township. I think obviously continuing it, if not increasing sort of the events that they do. Arts Connect getting involved with the mural painted on the bowling alley, Brentwood Bowl, right? It's beautiful, and it makes that drive. It kind of offsets a little bit of the construction right now going on Winton Road. But I'm really proud of the events that Arts Connect put on, and would love to continue doing that and increasing them if possible.
Okay, that's great. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was that Springfield Township has the tag, the center of it all. Springfield Township, we know, it's Finneytown, it's Seven Hills, it's Pleasant Run Farms, it's New Burlington, it's all over the place. What are some things that the township can do to keep these all tied together so that it is the center of it all?
So it's the center of it all, but a lot of people think Finneytown is the center of Springfield Township. So having those non-contiguous neighborhoods is, I think, difficult on the residents because they don't always feel connected to Springfield Township. And I think one of the issues that we have to address is that maybe we have to move some of the events that we're having, not just have them at the township offices, have something in Pleasant Run Farms, a bigger event sponsored by Springfield Township, and try and get the neighborhoods more involved, and even so that they feel more involved. I know the township does try to do things, but outside those neighborhoods, but I think making them more visible and maybe moving some of the bigger events to other places in the neighborhood would be a great way to try and tie them in.
Okay. We have another email. This email is from Rich on Fleming, and Rich would like to know if you pledge to see your term out if elected.
100%. If I'm fortunate enough to be elected, I will serve all 4 years of the term. Yes.
That's great.
Good to hear. I'd like to ask you a question about communication, not only individually with your community, but with the community as a whole. Can you tell me how you would approach communication with residents if you're elected?
If elected, so I think Springfield Township does a good job of communicating with residents. Their social media presence is pretty robust. I get alerts every day, from Springfield Township, just something that's happened or something that's popped up. Gwen McFarland's not running for the seat anymore. She's not allowed to, which is the reason that I'm running, or one of the reasons that I'm running. I personally just pledge to work as hard as she does. Gwen is nonstop at civic association meetings and talking to people, listening to people. I'm going to do the exact same thing when I'm a trustee. So I would add a lot of personal involvement and engagement. And engagement is not just going to be a campaign slogan for me. It's going to continue after I get the job. And I will continue to hear what the residents, what their issues are, and the positives and negatives that they see.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring us one more email. We have an email from Debbie in Springfield Township, and Debbie would like to know what makes you the most qualified candidate for Springfield Township trustee.
So I think I've said it a couple of times. I have an MBA and 22 years of business experience in strategic planning and business development. I can bring that into the role on day one. I also talked about balance, and I really think it's important that there be some potential disparate views for discussions. It's a 3-person board. So I really think there needs to be some diversity of thought. I do know that I will bring that. And I'm willing to have those conversations. I'm willing to voice, as I said, a disparate opinion. But once the township votes on something, I will stack my hand and work to making that as effective as possible to benefiting the residents of Springfield Township.
Okay, thank you.
We've covered a lot today. As you think about the challenges that are going to face the board in the coming year, if you had to pick one, like if I could address this, I would feel like my first year was a success. What would it be?
See, that's a very difficult question.
They pay me to ask
They all
those.
are, and good. I'm glad it's being asked. Part of it with Springfield Township is the trustees don't really change that often, right? And we get, 26, 24, 10 years. It's the same people. So it's also 3 people making decisions. So, the biggest thing, I want to bring new ideas to the township and attempt to take the burden off the residents and try and lower that portion of the tax base and get it in and bring, and again, safety. Make our streets safer, slow people down on the roads as best we can. Taxes would be one, but 1A would be traffic safety.
Fair enough.
What in Springfield Township, what's the thing about the township that you're most proud of?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking it.
Thank you.
I commute 40 miles each way to work, and I chose to live in Springfield Township. And I'm from a big city, and I've lived in big cities. I've lived in suburbs of smaller cities, but than what I grew up in. But a big thing that I like, my wife Ginger and I have season tickets to the Aronoff, and Springfield Township, the center of it all. Yes, we're 20 minutes from great cultural activities downtown. We are in the middle of everything. We've got cross county, we've got 70, we've got everything we need to get anywhere we can get to rather quickly from Springfield Township. And programs like Arts Connect, they are still offering cultural events in the township, so you don't have to leave if you don't want to. So
that's great. Well, we're believe it or not, we're already getting towards the end. But I want to make sure I give you a chance to give us a 2-minute closing statement.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So, Jamie Ray, I'm running for Springfield Township Trustee. As I said earlier, balance, engagement, and advocacy. That's the 3 aspects of leadership that I really want to bring to the role. I want to bring, again, balance. I think one-party control in any government level is not appropriate. Engagement. I like talking. I like talking to people. I like listening to people. So I want to continue going around the township. I may be crazy, but I love canvassing. I like talking to people. And then advocacy and finding out what issues are most important to the residents of Springfield Township. So far, it's taxes and safety. And I want to fight for those for people. And then I think it should go without saying, I think honesty. You can ask me questions when I'm elected. You can ask me questions in my personal life. I will give you an answer, and I'm not going to look for the answer that I think you want to hear. I'm going to give you the answer. So I will make myself available to residents. If I'm not elected, I probably won't be able to help them, but if I am elected, I will definitely look to continue engaging with residents and then doing what I can. I want to make Springfield Township even better.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in. I want to take a minute to say that we missed you, Christy Dukes-Davis. We know that Christy was scheduled to be here for this program. And of course, we're not sure what kept her from the studio today, but we hope to find that out soon. I will say thank you for joining us this evening as viewers. Thank you, residents of Springfield Township, for being so involved in this forum and sending in so many of your questions to the candidates today. If you need more information to be an informed voter in the upcoming election, you can watch all of our election forums online at www.waycross.tv, and you can also go to the Hamilton County Board of Elections website, which is votehamiltoncounty.org. And there you can find out if you're registered, you can see a sample ballot, you can find out where your voting location is. So make sure you register to vote. The deadline is October 7th to do that, and then vote on November 5th. Make sure that we see you there at the polls. I'm Dana Gagnon, Waycross Government Programming Coordinator. I'm here with Jenny Key, and we will see you at the polls on November 5th. Waycross takes no positions on candidates or issues. We conduct these forums so that our viewers may be better informed voters for the November 5th election.